Yeah, you feel calm. How's your mind feel?
Zone.
Yeah, zoned. Yeah, right. Because what are you paying attention to? You're just paying attention to your body, your breathing, and you're not trying to get anything to happen. You're putting yourself in the mindset to allow what naturally wants to occur. Your body wants to be well. Believe me, it wants to be well. Your mind wants you to be, let it be quiet. Single focus, so you can experience a greater sense of peace within yourself. Okay. So now we did feet, lower legs, knees, we've done some thigh work, we've done some hip work, we warmed up the whole spine. What else do you think we need? Shoulders. Yeah, we need some shoulders, we need some shoulder blade, we need some heart space. Okay, this upper area here is easier to do standing up. Okay, so. All right, so check your poses. Most of the time when we're doing standing poses, we want the hips and the knees and the ankles and the feet to be in a nice alignment. And you'll have to decide, because it kind of depends on how you've walked all these years, what's the right placement for your feet. You will notice if you turn your feet out a little bit, your hips don't move as well. So that's one of the reasons why I bring my feet forward. Heels are pushed out a little bit, and I relax the knees. Okay, so we're going to do some upper body work. So let's do some shoulder first. So shoulders do a couple of different things. They can do a forward motion, and this is parallel to the floor, and then they can pull straight back. So we're not lifting them, we're just moving them forward and back. So what do you notice with this? Where are you feeling the lengthening?
The chest and then the back of the
Shoulder blades.
blades.
Right. Right. Now let's do a circular motion. Now do it really slowly. Notice what the neck wants to do. It wants to go with it, doesn't it? So here again, we're doing the head forward, lifting, and it arches back, and then the shoulders drop away. It wants to curl forward, up, back, down. What does the breath want to do? When do you want to breathe in?
In your back.
Well, and when you're lifting, the arms want to come up because the diaphragm muscle's opening, so the breath is going to come in of its own accord, right? So let's make a sound breath. Again, up. Let's reverse it. Now what happens? Breath in. Exhale. Now relax your hips and let your hips go with this motion. What do you notice about them? They go right. When I take the shoulders back, hips want to come forward. When I bring the shoulders forward, hips want to go back. So I'm naturally going back and forth. Good, relax your knees. There you go. Push that pelvis forward. There you go. Oh, wonderful. Oh, yes. Oh. And when you're coming forward, you'll notice that the diaphragm muscle, it wants to do this expansion on the lungs. When you go forward, those pectoral muscles really want you to push the air out. Bring your shoulders forward. Okay, now back. Back and down. Take it back. Now up. Up. Arch. Forward. Think of curling this way.
Oh, okay, I thought we were just doing up and back.
Yeah, we're doing circles right now. Okay. All right. So now we've noticed we've got everything. Lungs are working. Do I have to think about the breathing pattern? No, because the body already knows what it wants to do naturally. What happens if I start to do opposites movements?
Hips want to twist.
Yes, so now we're engaging, warming this whole area up, right? So even though I'm just doing an arm lift, I'm really doing a lot more than that, aren't I? Let's reverse it. Now, do the muscles that I use to bring the arm forward, are they the same ones that I feel bring the arm backward? No. Right, what if I do both? Let's reverse it. Okay, now just relax your knees. What do you notice about your neck? Feels like it needs to move, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Why did it tighten up when we were doing these? We were using them. Yeah, we were using these muscles. We were releasing these, but we were using these. So what do you think we're going to do next? We're going to release the neck, right? So if I do a series, do some movement, and I notice, well, gosh, that just tightened up my neck. I guess my neck is what I'll do next. So it's a natural progression, right? If I just did the arms, why would I go down and do a lower back? They're not, I mean, they're all connected, but there's not really a relationship between the two. The same way that the shoulder roll and the head are the same thing. So let's do a little warm up on the neck then. So neck can do a couple of different things. It can do a chin drop, then it can do a head drop. Now you'll notice when you do the head drop, you can feel it going all the way out to the shoulders, right? Then I can bring the head up. Now I bring the chin up. So it's not until I bring the chin up that I actually have released the neck. You notice that? What happens when I go up? Puts a lot of tension on the base of the skull, doesn't it? Good, take it forward. I'll drop it down. Good, head up. Back. Now stick the chin out. Stretching the front of those muscles in the neck. Good, release. Down. Good, back to center. Okay, what happens if I drop the ear to the shoulder? Yeah, so you can feel it all down the side here. What happens when I turn the head? Now where's the stretch? Yeah, see it's in the back here, isn't it? Okay, so then I bring the head forward and bring it up. Let's do the other side. Drop. Now we're just going to watch those muscles. They're tense, so we're going to just watch them. Now I'm going to turn the head and change. So more muscles are involved in tension. Then I'm going to turn it again. And then when I bring it up, there's the release. Let's try it again. Ear to the shoulder. Take a breath in. Exhale. Turn the face downward. Now let that shoulder relax. Just breathe. Okay, we're going to rotate the face forward and bring the head up. How's your shoulder feel? The neck feels better, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the whole shoulder release. Let's do the other side again. So we drop, breathe. Now relax the shoulder. Now turn the face downward. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. Bring the face forward. Bring the neck up. And relax. Now what do you notice?
Looser.
Yes. Look how the shoulders want to move down. See, we've loosened those up. Right. Okay, so let's do something for the shoulder blades. Shoulder blades, most people have terribly thick tight shoulder blades. Okay, so to do this, there's a couple of movements. If I bring my arm out and then I cross it over, okay, I'm going to keep this shoulder down. Now the shoulder blade is still resting on the rib cage. So what I need to do now is I need to lengthen it forward so that the whole arm goes forward. And I'm going to pull it back. Lengthen, back, lengthen, back. Try the other side. Cross. Now pull the shoulder blade forward here and back. Forward and back. So I call this being engaged, disengaged. Engaged, disengaged. Okay? Do it now with the arm bent. So elbows parallel to the floor. Okay, pull the elbow forward. Now disengage the elbow, or the shoulder blade. Pull it all the way back. Push shoulder forward. Now shoulder blade. Pull back. Other side. Shoulder, shoulder blade. Pull back. Shoulder, shoulder blade. Pull back. Okay, practice that for a few minutes. I want to check, make sure everybody's getting it. Good. Yep. Very good. Perfect. See the other side. Good. Yep, you've got it. Good. Good. That's right. Your arm is shaking a little bit. Yeah, so bring the elbow down a little bit. Okay, there you go. Good. Perfect. Relax the shoulder. Do it again. Okay, and you've got it all as one smooth movement. Can you do two? Put the elbow forward first. Good, now shoulder blade. Perfect. Perfect. I see the other side. Perfect. Okay. Okay, you're turning the whole, you're letting the whole torso. I just want this to do it. Okay, so there's, and then lengthen the shoulder blade. Pull it all the way back. Relax that shoulder. Okay, here we go. Push the elbow forward. Now the shoulder blade. There. Now pull it back. Again. Good. So you can see that there's two parts to this, right? Keep the shoulder down. Good. All right. So why do you think we want to loosen up the shoulder blades? Yes, we store so much tension. And what if we've injured the arms at some point in time? Could be internal or external. We store a lot of memory back here. And so it's really important to get those shoulder blades to start moving again. So they're really, really positive for us. So now we're going to put the two movements together. Okay, so you're going to do a crossover, right? And then I'm going to bring the other arm underneath, catch it. Now I'm going to release both of them. Pull them both forward, okay? Now I'm going to lift with the bottom arm up. Of course, when I'm breathing in, I'm going to exhale, come down. Drop the shoulders. Breath will come out, head will come down. Again, up. So keep it elongated. Keep those shoulder blades engaged. Exhale. Again, breath in, up. Now we're going to drop to the side. So you've lifted up on those shoulder blades. Let your hip go to one side and let the torso release. So you're gonna get a stretch down through here at the same time. And it's gonna help open up the fascia around the rib cage. Good, come up. Push the hip. Change your center of gravity. Keep the elbows high. Drop to the other side. Good, come in. Up. Good, bring it down. Relax the shoulders. Now you can notice, feel the tension in those arms, those shoulders. A lot of energy going on. So we're going to let it swing. That releases it. Gets it to start flowing down your arms, to your wrists. Good. Okay, so we've done neck, shoulders. What do you think we can do for the very upper back? We haven't really done anything right through here. Like some twists. Yeah, some twists. How about arms up? Do you think, notice, lift your arms up. Does that engage heart space? Absolutely. See, what happens if I push the pelvis forward? Lift up on the elbows. Oh. Go forward. Just relax forward. Let's go up again. Breath in, arms up. Push it forward. Breath in. Okay, so we got it going this way, right? So now what do you think we do next? If we went front and back, I would go side to side to side. So here we go. So we would do an upward stretch. Open. Push. Now lengthen. Good. Let it drop through. Let it on up. Stretch. Fingertips to heel. Open. Push. Relax. Now we'll do it with a twist. Arm up. Open. Push. Going over. Now twist the torso and reach. Put the weight on the standing leg. Now you're going to keep the knees bent. Rotate through. Reach. Relax. Other side. Open. Push. Reach. Rotate. Up. Relax. Good. How's heart space feel? Better. So, we just slowly made our way up. Right? And I think we've done everything except the base. So, now that I've done those things, if I still have a particular area that still feels tight, like it's not working quite right, now's the time when I would focus in on it and take the time and apply the same principles that we've been using to get this, to get the relaxation to happen. All right, we're going to take a little break. Okay? All right. So how do I know when I need to modify a pose?
Your body tells you.
Thank you. It does. How does it tell you?
Pain. Discomfort.
Discomfort, some sort of discomfort going on. So when you modify it, how do you know if you've modified it enough?
If the pain goes away and the discomfort goes away.
Very good. See, this is rocket science, you guys. Okay, and now, and it's something Paula brought up, what if I do the pose, I've got the muscles have really become flexible in that area, they're working great, but I'm feeling like my body could do it more. Because, and that's what you're saying, is I feel like I need to hold the pose longer. Okay, so this is where you're starting to build strength in the area, because you got the flexibility first. Then you go for the strength. What happens if you try and build strength without flexibility?
Hurt yourself.
You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your ligaments, your tendons, and your muscles. What does fascia do? Does everybody know what fascia is? Like if I have a muscle and wrapped around that muscle, just like if this was a foot, if I put a sock on it, that's the fascia, is the sock. So muscles relax when you put ice on them. Fascia relaxes when you put heat on them. Fascia, when it's too tight, it burns. When a muscle's too tight, you get sharp pains. Okay, so the body has these different signals. So if let's say I've got a muscle that's been tight for a long time, and now because I haven't been able to move it right, the fascia's tightened down around it. Now what do I have to do? What do you think I have to do first?
Heat.
I've got to do heat first to get the fascia to relax, because if it's not relaxed, that muscle can't move. So I'm going to release the fascia through heat. What can I do? What can I put on for heat? What can I do?
Heating pad.
Heating pad,
Hot water bottle.
hot water bottle, icy hot. Okay, something like that. So, or Tiger Balm, something to warm that area up. Now, once I get that warmed up, now I can start to move the muscle. Okay. What if the muscle then is saying to me, but I hurt? Okay. I would find how could I modify the movement so that the body's just giving me a little bit of pain. I'm going to back off, and it could be that this is all I do. I remember when I first started to get my arms to move after my car accident. This was all I could do. But that's where I started. That was a place to start. Turn the hands over. Then I tried lifting up. I remember the first time I lifted up a Campbell soup can. I was so thrilled. Or an apple at the grocery store on my own. I was able to do that. So it's like, no, if that's all you can do, body, thank you for doing that. So what happens is then, if the muscle's relaxed, then after I've worked it, if it's been not had very much strength because it's been tight for so long, now it's going to build up lactic acid, right? And the blood flow to it's going to slow down. It's going to constrict. So now the muscle is going to feel like it's aching. So now I need to put ice on it. If I put ice on it, then that's going to cause the muscle to contract a little bit more. You only leave ice on about 15 minutes, and then when it releases and starts to warm up, that's when you get the flow of prana and blood flow through it, and it releases and it feels normal, it feels wonderful. Okay, so if you leave yoga class and your muscles are stiff, like if we have class in the morning, if they're stiff in the evening, you probably pushed too hard. You didn't honor your body. If you're sore the next day, you really overdid it. So you should just feel, I know people say, well, we just didn't do very much. Well, you'd be amazed at what you've done. It's just so subtle that most people aren't used to paying attention to it. So once you've got that flexibility, the fascia's relaxed, the muscles are relaxed. What else I can use to help with that relaxation is the breath. Right? Because when I breathe in, I'm taking in more oxygen. And I have more oxygen for the body to work with. What happens when I exhale? You'll notice everything kind of relaxes, right? So how do you breathe when you're active?
Upper, it's more upper chest.
Yeah, it's more up through here, isn't it? Uh-huh. How do you breathe when you're going to sleep? So the whole cycle of breath changes, right? What if you're frightened? How do you breathe?
Short.
Yeah, short, low breaths. Uh-huh. What does that do for you? What does that do to your mind, when you take shallow breaths?
Think straight. Yeah.
and you're on high
Alert.
alert. See, fight or flight. So it's going to cause adrenaline to flow. Right? So if in this yoga, we're doing restorative yoga, the way my body naturally breathes when I'm well is like a 4-count breath pattern. It's a breath in, hold the lungs expanded, a breath out, hold the air out. It's just a very nice relaxed breath. Now then when we lie down to meditate or we sit to meditate, we become aware of that, but then as we start to go into a meditative state, when the conscious mind goes quiet, what you'll notice is you've breath in, pause, breath out, hold out, pause. And then there's going to be a shift in the breathing pattern. The breathing pattern will now go short in, long out. So I want you to try that with me. So let's do 4-count in, hold open, and make sure you don't lock the lungs. This is just like opening up the diaphragm muscle. Breath out, hold out. Breath in, hold open, breath out, hold out. Okay, we're going to do one more. Breath in, hold open, breath out, hold out. Now keep holding it out. Now take a little breath in and push the air out. Now take a breath in when you're ready. Close your eyes. What do you notice is happening to your body? Do you see how much more it's relaxing? It's calming down. Now let the breath go really shallow. Because you know what? You're not doing anything. Just sit there. Just go really shallow. Whatever. Just think about everything's going into a state of calmness. You can sit any way you want. Okay, open your eyes. So how's your perception changed?
Calm, more relaxed, calm, quiet.
Quiet. Anything else you notice?
Integrated.
Okay. How's the size of it? Does it feel a little more expanded? Like you're pushed back a little bit? Looking at seeing a little more aware of the big picture? So this is part of that detachment that naturally happens that allows us to be the observer of what we're experiencing on the physical plane. What am I experiencing on the emotional plane? What am I experiencing in my thought waves? If I'm in my head, I can't see that. But if I've stepped back, then I'm watching my body having an experience. I'm watching my body do the pose. I'm watching my mind recall a memory. I'm watching a thought appear in my consciousness. Okay? So that sense of separation allows us to feel more integrated because I'm identifying not only with my physical self, but I'm aware of my mind. I'm aware of my vital sheath, my prana energy. I'm also aware that I have a consciousness that's beyond my conscious mind. And it does the real watching, and it actually is the source of all consciousness. In yoga, we call that the self with a capital S. So, have I learned something about myself? Yes. See, I'm beginning to not think of myself as just being this massive emotion and experience that's all been thrown together, and somehow I'm supposed to make some sense out of it, put some rules on it. Well, my rules that I've used are the rules of yoga. The rules of yoga say, calm down, step back, listen to your body, move the way your body's comfortable moving, stay flexible because life's full of change, build strength. Now, have faith and trust, not only in the body, brain, but in the self itself, because it invited you to this grand party here. See, and so now all of a sudden my mind, how my mind sees the world, how my body's experiencing itself, how my body's moving through the physical plane, all of it seems to be moving with greater smoothness and agility, greater strength. I'm not running into emotional objections inside of myself, right? So there is this relationship between the mind and the body during Hatha yoga. Okay. Hatha means ha in Sanskrit means sun. Tha means moon. So symbolically, the sun represents your physical plane of existence. The moon represents your emotional self. So what you'll sense about it, you've got this physical body, but inside that physical body, there's this mind space, this sensitive, we call it the inner world when we're doing meditation or mind space. So I need to have those two integrated. Okay? I need to have those feeling good. Normally when you come in from out in the world and you come to yoga class, what do you notice? They're usually in a state of imbalance with one another somehow because of things that we've encountered during the day. So how do we get a mind and body to start to just pay attention just to each other? How do we do it? Yeah, we can tune in, right, to the body, be aware of the body. So what do we use to help us be aware of the body? First thing we do in class.
Breathe.
Breathe. We breathe, but we pay attention to the breath. So the mind is watching the body breathing. Okay? Now what's the next thing we do?
Movement.
Huh?
Movement.
Well, we do something before. What do we do a little bit next? We tune in on the body. Remember? Focus on your ankles. Focus on your knees, your hips. Right, so we kind of just tune in. Okay, so now I got the two. I'm aware of the two. And we breathe for a minute, right? Then many times we'll do prayer breath. What do you think prayer breath does for us?
Opens us up.
It opens us up because the movement's opening. And then it brings the two back together, right? Left hand's identifying prana and body on the right side. Right hand is identifying prana and body on the left side. So I'm integrating brain hemispheres. Right? Why do you think we do movement where you have to be aware of the center line? Because it's going to integrate the two brain hemispheres. Right? When we do left side and then right side, right? We'll do it. And then many times we'll do one that encompasses both. So what we're doing is we work specifically on certain areas of the body to get relaxation and lengthening to happen. Then we do the other side. If we go forward, then we go back. If I go to the left, next time I go right. And if I start at the feet, I can just slowly move all the way up the body And usually within about 20 minutes, you've got everything loosened up somewhat. Now that you've got that done, now you're ready to focus in on your problem areas. And how do you know it's a problem area? Right, you're getting pain, you're getting restricted movement, you're gonna notice that you can't really do the pose, like it's not, body's not letting you go all the way into it. So now what do? If the body's not giving you restricted movement, now what do?
Not a body. You're ready to maybe help it. Like an intention.
Right, you can acknowledge body, okay, you're giving me the message, don't push anymore. So how do I tell the body without words that I'm not gonna push?
Back off.
Back off. So I do emotion, that's how I talk with the body. I pull back, right? Now what does the body do?
Lets you in.
Yeah, because why? Because it trusts you. It trusts you. So it's really important to let that trust keep developing and developing and developing, because that trust is going to become the foundation for how you're going to work with your body from here on out. And if body tells you you're walking, remember that day you walked out of class and I was watching you in class, your body was totally, left side and right side were not communicating, and you walked outside and fell on the ice. You were so discombobulated, but what happened is the right side of your brain starting to really work. And you're so used to being left brain dominant that you were in a new space, but your body didn't know quite how to integrate it. This is why we can feel a greater sense of expandedness when we get done doing our yoga, because we've not only opened up the prana so it's moving fluidly through the body, but we've also turned on dormant centers in the brain that we don't normally use. We're also accessing muscles that we don't normally use. We're doing it in a way maybe we've never done before. So all of a sudden there's everything kind of lit up. Right? So when it lights up, I feel expanded. I'm in a new space. In that new space, how do we get that new space to become more permanent? Because it's a much healthier space than I've been in. How do we get it to become more permanent?
Practice.
Right, and one other thing. After you do the poses, do stillness. Lie on the ground, breathe, watch prana flow. You'll feel it flowing, then you'll feel it start to slow down, and then all of a sudden it'll go quiet, and then you'll sense this little, like this pulse, like this natural wave of energy that's happening. So when you get that kind of an experience, it's the real healing happens in that quiet time in between the poses. It's not the pose itself. Okay? Pose is just moving parts. The shift happens in between the poses. So if we don't take some time in between, because a lot of people think, well, God, we're just laying here. Well, no, you're doing much more than that. You're actually letting everything kind of open up and reintegrate. Circuits are hooking up in a new way. So, and then why would we do a certain pose more than once? We do left side, right side. Why would we go back and do it again? What do you think on that? Why would I want to repeat a pose?
Your body used to it.
For memory.
Sure, build memory. Also, I could increase the strength in those particular muscles because I'm repeating it. And that's part of what you're experiencing now. You've integrated. Now your body's ready for strength in many areas. So then that's when you feel like you want to do the pose more. Or I want to take a little deeper lunge. You know, or I want to lean forward a little bit. You'll feel your hips open up and all of a sudden you drop down a little further. And it's not painful to do it, it's a release that's happened. So what did you notice about the breath today? Like when we were doing shoulder rolls. How do we know what's the proper breath to go with the movement we're doing?
The body tells us.
Really? Does the body already know how to do that? Right, it's true. So you don't have to train the body to breathe. It already knows how to do it. And it's flowing based on how you're doing the movement. If I lean back like this, you think I'm going to breathe out? No, I'm going to breathe in, aren't I? If I go forward, what am I going to do? I'm going to breathe out, right? How will breath be if I lengthen over one leg? It's going to be shallow, right? Because I've contracted one whole lung. What if I do both? Very contracted. Now when I've got everything's forward, this is a good time to think about breathing through the back of the rib cage, because you can literally get the lower lungs and the diaphragm to move more on at the base. So what you're doing, then you're expanding the rib cage, because we have a lot of fascia around here, and we can stretch it. What happens if I want you to just sit like this for a minute? Okay, you're to the shoulder. Now lift this shoulder. Now think of lengthening from the top of the hip all the way up underneath the armpit. How's the breathing on that side? When you're leaning away, this is really open, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you think I'm going to breathe when I'm like this?
Over that side.
Right, I'm going to let this lung really get the breath. Come up. Now do. Now notice. Do you feel how this one still is taking in more air than this one, right? So let's go to the other side. So I lift my shoulder up. So I'm pulling everything up and off that lung. That's going to increase my lung capacity. Good, now come up. Now breathe. Do you feel how much that increased?
Yeah.
Is that amazing? Okay, let's lie down. A little more with breathing here. Okay, so what happens when I have my hands straight down to my sides? Breathe. That's just what I call normal. That just feels normal, right? So take your hands out about 30 degrees. Now what do you notice? Yeah, when we say deeper, what does that mean? What's moving more?
The sides.
Right, because the
sides.
diaphragm muscle can move more, right? So you can feel the lungs, the lower lungs are really opening up. Now I want you to notice that the diaphragm muscle, every time it relaxes, it sits just above the body brain. So when it relaxes, it helps to relax the body brain. So you'll start feeling this softness. So take a deep breath in again. So tension in the diaphragm. Now exhale. Let all the tension out. Now let that little sense of emptiness happen around the body brain. Now when you start to really pay attention, you're going to start to feel a pulsation happening in body brain, solar plexus. So I want you to just close your eyes for a minute. Let's take another deep breath in. Diaphragm, expanded, tension, exhale. Now just let it go. Push all the air out. So this is the tension. Now release it. Now just relax. Let the body, brain, solar plexus, all those muscles underneath the diaphragm muscle relax. Start feeling that solar plexus. You can start feeling the pulsation. Okay, so remember, anytime you're doing a pose, we've got hands out, palms are down. you're grounding yourself and you're allowing that whole physical body to take in more oxygen, to relax a little bit deeper, and to just generally let a feeling of stress leave the body. Okay? Now let's see what happens if I take my hands palm over palm, place them upright on my forehead. And I kind of take the hand underneath, kind of wrap the fingers around the wrist and just hang on to it nice and gently. Okay, then close your eyes. Now take some nice deep breaths. Okay, now what part of the body is doing the breathing? Upper lungs, yeah. This is above the breast. You can feel this up in between like the nipples and the pit of the throat, all the pectoral area. This is the bronchial tubes. Right, so if you have a tendency to get colds, or you have asthma, or you have a lot of congestion that settles into the bronchial area, this is where you want to have your hands, okay, because we want to increase the flow of the breath. Now, what do you notice when we do upper lung breathing? What happens to the lower rib cage? It stays expanded, doesn't it? And it might expand a little bit, but it basically stays really expanded, and you'll notice there's kind of a softness down into the belly, into the abdomen. So you'll feel the abdominal muscles relax. What do you notice about those shoulder blades? See, these are very heart spacey. So if you're emotionally upset and you want to clear some of that out, or if there's something you needed to say and you didn't say it because it's stuck in your throat, this is the breath pattern that you want to do. This is a releasing to the heart space and into the throat chakra, which controls, your expression through words. Okay, let's bring your hands down to your side. Now lengthen your legs. Now we've had the knees up. We've probably got a little curvature in the back. So we're going to release tension in the legs by flexing the ankles. So contract them. Feel the stretch up into the back of the calf muscles and the knees. Now relax it. Now rotate the hips side to side. Okay. Now just let the legs relax. Okay, we're going to keep the hands right in next to the body. So now we're back to constricted lung breathing, both the lower lungs and upper lungs. So now's the time to be aware of the abdominal breath. So I'm going to focus on the abdomen. So we can think of that. Let's find the navel, touch the navel with your index fingers, and then bring your palms down a little bit lower into the abdomen. And spread your fingers. And we're going to take some nice breaths in and out. And I want you first to just be aware that you're expanding and relaxing those abdominal muscles. We're not contracting, we're just expanding. What you notice is we'll start to bring a sense of warmth down into the abdominal cavity. Okay, now we're going to take a deep breath in, and we're going to tighten the muscles down. So push all the air out. Try and pull those abdominal muscles back against your spine and hold all the air out. Just a tension move. Now release it. Let's do it again. Breath in, expand the abdomen. Breath out, push all the air out of the abdomen. it out. Now release it. Now just breathe normally. So when we exhale the breath out of the abdomen when we're doing abdominal breathing, this helps to stimulate the peristaltic action. So many times, especially as we get older, that peristaltic action due to sluggish bowel, or maybe we've taken too many drugs and our body can't remember how to do peristaltic action anymore. This exhalation and tightening down the abdominal muscles helps to reignite awareness of the body and how it moves the waste matter through our lower abdomen and pushes it out. It also helps with hemorrhoids and swelling, tight hips, bloating, all of those sorts of things. That abdominal breath. Okay, so take your hands out about 30 degrees away from the torso. Relax your hips so your feet are going to rotate out. Okay, we're just going to do full torso breathing now. Okay, so focus on the abdomen. Take a deep breath in. Relax those abdominal muscles. Now expand the diaphragm, lower lungs. Now open up the upper pectoral muscles, upper lungs. Feel what it's like to hold that whole torso open. Now we're going to exhale. So tighten down the upper lungs first. Now tighten down the abdominal muscles. That's going to start to tell body, brain to relax. Tighten down your abdominal muscles. Hold the breath out. Reverse it. Breath in, abdomen, lower lungs, upper lungs. Exhale, upper lungs. Tighten down the lower lungs. Tighten down the abs. One more time. Breath in, lower lungs. Abdomen, lower lungs, upper lungs. Reverse, upper lungs, lower lungs, abs. Okay, now just breathe normally. Now notice that was very easy to do with our arms out about 30 degrees away from the body. That lets the lower lungs and the upper lungs both move, but it also allows us to engage the abdominal muscles. It's really hard to engage abdominal muscles when your arms are up too high. Okay, so the placement of the arms has a lot to do with your breathing pattern. So does the position of the body. Is it curled over? Is it bent backward? Is it to the side? All of that, the body already knows how to breathe. So you pay attention to the body, you will already have mastered the breathing patterns. Okay, let's roll to our side. So tell me about the relationship between the mind and the body during Hatha yoga.
Be connected.
It should be connected. It should only be one. Body-mind. Mind-body, right? What's going on with, which mind are we connecting it with? Mind-mind or body-mind?
Body.
Both. Thank you. How do we become aware of body-brain, body-mind?
Through the breath.
Right, we can do it through the breath. How else?
Movement, listen to your movement.
Yeah, pay attention to your movement. It's going to tell you how your body's feeling, how the body brain's feeling about what you're doing with it. Anything else?
You can touch it.
Yeah, you can touch it. Right. What
See
if
if it's soft or
Yes.
if it's...
And I can check it while I'm doing my poses. Maybe I want to check in and see how it's doing. Why is it important to do maybe a couple of poses and then take a break and not do a pose?
To integrate.
Huh?
To integrate.
Mm-hmm. What happens when it all integrates?
You're in the flow of it all.
Right, so what occurs?
Healing.
Healing! Thank you. This is when you heal. This is when you do it. Okay. your body can't be in motion and heal at the same time. It can do one or the other. Okay? It's like when you're hungry, your body's telling you it needs nourishment. So then you have to eat first so the body can digest it, so it can get the nourishment it needs. It's just not automatically nourished unless you use an energy drink or something. Then you throw your body into shock. Okay. So how do we know how to breathe in a pose?
Our body knows how to do that.
Does it? How does it know how to do that?
Through the motions that we use.
Instinct.
Is it instinct or is it just innate intelligence? It's innate intelligence, right? It could, could we call that instinct? What do we call instinct when you think of instinct? That's a good word.
Gut.
Well,
I
instinct,
mean,
yes.
which
Yeah.
is your body brain, which is,
Which is your body brain, which is your instinct.
yeah.
Innate knowledge within your body.
That's right. So it has nothing to do with what your mind's thinking, your intellect, right? So if I want the body to do a particular movement, how do I get it to do that movement? Let's say I want to move that leg out here. How did I know how to do that? Let's look at the process.
Well, you said it or thought it.
Thought it. I have a thought.
Intention.
Send
Right.
the signals to your leg.
Who sent the signals?
Brain.
The brain. This brain sent the signal. How did it do it?
Axons, neurons.
Right, so it does it electrically and chemically, doesn't it? Sends the message. So once the muscles get what happens? The body already has the intelligence to know what muscles need to move to get it out there. Okay? So body's pretty smart. Okay, what if I put it out there, but my body brain doesn't like it?
To let you know.
What if I override what the body brain is saying?
Let you know.
It'll let you know. Yes, it will. So there's this communication that's going on constantly. Have you ever eaten something and then found out the body didn't like it? How'd you know? It lets you know.
Some reaction.
That's right. So the body is, we don't want to override the body. We want to pay attention to it and give the body what it is that it needs. So what is prana? What is its purpose?
Keep the
Keep
energy
us going.
flowing and keep us healthy.
Life.
Life.
Life. Yep, it's life. Right. So what's the source of it? Yeah, it's the self. We call it the self. You can call it whatever you want. How does it manifest? It's flowing energy, doesn't it, that has consciousness. It's intelligent. Okay? So if the body's intelligent and the life force flowing through it's intelligent, do I have to know what's wrong with me? Or do I just need to acknowledge that something's not right? Because the body's saying that leg hurts when you do that. If I pull it in, then I'm telling the body, I'm trusting what you're telling me. Now I'm just going to rest in that position. And if I rest in it, guess what? That intelligence and that life force already knows how to open all this up and get it to work beautifully. So do I heal myself? What I really do is I get myself, body, mind, into a place that's integrated so the life force and its intelligence can flow through me and I am healed. Doesn't matter whether I'm doing a healing on you, putting my hands on you, it's the same thing. All I am is a distributor of life force energy because I know how to pull it in and get it to go through you, right? So when I find blocked muscles or movement, restricted muscles, how do I find out whether what's the source of it? How do I find out what the source of that blockage is?
Tuning in. I don't know how you do it really well.
Yeah, you
The
do.
intuitive, right?
Right, but if I didn't hurt myself, if I didn't pull that muscle, or I didn't sit too long, so why is that muscle acting up?
It's trying to tell me something.
Right, if I can't find an external reason why the muscle's bothering me, it's gotta be something internal. That's like your hip that won't release. So, the more I listen to it, and especially when it's internal muscles, or muscles that are being affected by internal issues, those we have to move really, really slowly with them and keep them backed off, be super gentle with them. And then you'll notice as the muscle starts to loosen up, the issue will start to reveal itself. It could come through dream state. It could come through an aha moment. You might get sick to your stomach and throw up. You don't know. I mean, the body will have some sort of reaction to it. And then all of a sudden, guess what?
It's gone.
It's gone, and guess where it is in your muscle? It's gone. And this is how do you know you're really well? Is that you forgot to remember how you feel. That's how you know how you're really healthy. Healthy mentally and emotionally. Because you're not paying attention to yourself. Because you're all integrated. You're not feeling any sense of separateness within any aspect of yourself. That's the ultimate wellness. And that is a state of joy. And even if you have an injury and you're healing, be grateful that you know how to integrate and let this healing occur. All you're doing is you're allowing yourself to get into space for the healing to happen. Any questions?
Still not able to spread my toes.
Then, okay, all right. So what that tells me is you have a lot of tension up here in the neck because the toes have to do with that. So you've got to lengthen the toes and spread them apart. Are you working on it every day?
I haven't been. I need to get back to it.
Yeah.
Because that will affect me down the road for my balance.
And what it's going to do is it's going to open up the shoulders and the neck area. Shoulders deal with responsibility. And if you feel burdened or you have a lot of like deadlines, those cause all the muscles to tighten up. So the toes will curl in and up.
Because I want them to spread. These babies are doing a lot better. And the fact that it's my left side, that's my right brain.
That's your right brain.
Which I underutilize. So more of that internal thing.
Yeah.
Since this has been lifelong, I have never been able to spread them.
Well, but your tendency is to be left brain dominant.
Yeah.
And so doing more of this, doing
Yeah.
more art, a
Art.
little more cooking, planting flowers,
Yes.
lying out on the lawn and looking for figures in the clouds. Things that seem very daydreamy, those are all really right brain kind of things, and that's going to help these to loosen up.
Okay. So this will be my signal that I'm in tune. So.
Yes, the more these
day I
these
spread these.
relax. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you for coming. I hope you learned something today that will be very valuable.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll enjoy doing your yoga more, because even at home, I don't care if you're sitting in a chair, you can practice yoga. You can do it. And yoga is a state of mind, it's a state of body, it's a state of being. And poses are almost incidental. I mean, especially when we're healing. You know, as you get stronger and stronger, we can pay attention. But with restorative yoga, it's about restoring balance and integration. Thank you very much for coming. Hariom Tatsat.
Yes, thank you. Well, what